Ruslan.
I have been having a blast watching Jordan Peterson more publicly walk out his faith journey, how he identifies with Christianity, what areas he's evolving in. It's been really interesting. And so recently he went on the Flagrant 2 podcast with Andrew Schulz. I'm a fan of Andrew Schulz, the way he built out his business, the way he built out his structure. Now Andrew Schulz is not a Christian. He's not a follower of Jesus as far as I know. And it would be dope to even have a conversation with him someday. But I want to show you guys two quick clips. And one of them is just establishing how unapologetic Jordan Peterson is about exactly where he is with God and faith and religion. And the other part is going to disrupt some of your guys' mind in terms of some of the preconceived notion we've had about a specific author with a specific book. Listen to how Andrew Schulz says to him, and then listen to how Jordan Peterson responds. The question is, how do you remain so humble? This is what they're starting with. And listen to what Andrew Schulz says.
How do you check yourself? You're not a religious man per se.
You're not a religious man per se.
Where is your check?
I would say that I'm a religious person.
Interesting. So Andrew Schulz is like, how do you stay so humble? You're not religious, right? Like Andrew's like, cool, progressive comedian, right? And he's like, you're not a religious man. And Jordan says, no, I am a religious man. I would say I'm a religious man. And listen to what he says next.
People have asked me if I believe in God, and I said that I act as though he exists, which for me is a fine definition of belief, because I think that the best indication of someone's belief is actually their action.
Woo! Jesus said, if you love me, you'll obey my commands. Jordan Peterson says, I act as if God is real. And he says the best indication of what someone believes is their action. I say it all the time on this channel. What you believe about the world, what you believe about God, what you believe about Christianity, what you believe about entertainment, what you believe about all these different things will determine how you behave. Your truest manifestation about what you really believe is how you behave, how you act, how you carry yourself. This is where it gets really interesting and it gets really dicey, all right? Just buckle up, because this is really interesting. We're gonna get into some Harry Potter. Just listen up.
So I kind of noticed that J.K. Rowling made several $1 billion building the biggest entertainment enterprise of the decade.
J.K. Rowling is the author of the Harry Potter series. He says that she made several billion, that's what it be, $1 billion building this entire entertainment empire.
Rose herself from, single mother status, unemployed single mother status, to richer than the queen. Occupied every movie screen for like 10 years. Yeah. Maybe something's going on there. Yeah. Well, these complex characters, they play out mythology, and so if religion disappears in the culture in general, it pops up in our stories instantly. And that's exactly what's happened in the Marvel universe.
He talks about J.K. Rowling. He mentions a soft, like another religion, right? Because religion could be a kind of a generic term. He says religion, if it's removed from our society, it'll pop up in our media. And he mentions specifically Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, and then he's going to go into the Marvel universe.
You even have Thor, for God's sake. Thor is a god.
Yeah.
It's not even subtle. You can't get rid of these stories. They come back no matter what you do. These stories come back.
So what was J.K. Rowling doing with Harry Potter?
Well, it's the battle between good and evil. I mean,
right.
Interesting. So he says, so what was J.K. Rowling doing with Harry Potter? It's the battle between good and evil. Interesting. Okay, guys, this onion's gonna get peeled away more and more, and this is gonna get really interesting.
Is Satan for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
So it's the battle between good and evil. I mean, the second volume in particular is St. George and the Dragon. It's Bilbo and the Dragon. Harry fights a giant snake that's under the castle. It's the same story as The Lord of the Rings.
It's the same story as The Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is written by J.R. Tolkien. J.R. Tolkien is a Catholic Christian, really good friends with C.S. Lewis. They had a collective called the Inklings. He says it's literally the same story as The Lord of the Rings.
The oldest story we have of that sort is a Mesopotamian creation myth where a god named Marduk attacks a giant dragon named Tiamat.
Mesopotamian creation myth. Okay, where'd that come from?
And that's one of the oldest religious tracts that we have. It's symbolic of humanity, right? The human being goes out there and encounters the terrible unknown, often in reptilian form.
And shout out to all the folks that believe in reptilians.
Unknown Well, that's why that terrible unknown is often evil itself. And so in Christianity, you get this weird intermingling, for example, of the snake in the Garden of Eden with
Oh, interesting. So then he goes to Christianity, the snake in the Garden of Eden. Okay, so now he says the Mesopotamian myth, but then he goes to Christianity, the snake in the Garden of Eden. But
not obvious why there should be a connection.
Yeah.
Snake, Satan.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the worst snake? It's not a snake. It's snakes as such. Well, it's not snakes as such. It's predators as
it's predators. It's interesting.
reptilian predators. Wait a minute. It's not reptilian predators as such. It's enemies. It's human enemies. It's the enemy in our own soul. That's the progression of the thought.
Wait,
it's unbelievably sophisticated.
How does it go from
insanely sophisticated?
How does it go from enemies to the enemies in our own soul?
Well, who's your worst enemy if it's not you?
Can you guys see where he's hinting at?
Who's your biggest obstacle if it's not you?
And
I mean, who do you contend with more than anyone else if it's not you?
And to the Harry Potter thing, Harry Potter has a piece of Voldemort in him.
Yes, well, that's the original sin doctrine.
Woo! He went to the original sin doctrine. Oh, guys, this man is talking depravity, total depravity. The original sin doctrine with Andrew Schulz on the Flagrant 2 podcast.
So
it's also the case that he can't understand evil without it. It's also part of what makes him sophisticated, right? Because he's being touched by it.
Yeah. So is that what we got to do, is just copy the Bible?
Is that what we got to do, is just copy the Bible? Did you guys see the conclusion that Andrew Schulz made? Is that all we got to do, is just, this is a non-Christian who understands that these themes that keep popping up in Lord of the Ring, Harry Potter, some of the most iconic stories in the secular world, Andrew Schulz is drawing the connection that they're from the Bible.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
It happens whether we want it to or not.
Woo!
I mean, the Bible aggregated itself over centuries, right? I mean, no human being directly oriented that. It's not something that could happen over thousands and thousands of years.
This is just the greatest hits.
That's one way of thinking about it, yes.
And each one of these hits taps into something innate to us.
Yes. Otherwise, we wouldn't remember it.
Jordan Peterson is talking about the doctrine of original sin, which is that man, even though man is created in an image of God, he is fallen because of Adam, the original sin. Okay. And then he ties that in to all of these stories throughout all these years and how they ultimately go back to the Bible. And then Andrew Schulz says, so do we just got to copy the Bible? He says, we don't have a choice because these stories are instinctually innocent. This is being communicated on a non-Christian platform, is continuing to change people's perspectives and soften the palates of what it means to be a Christian. Because a lot of times the people that get in the way of the message of Jesus is Christians. A lot of times we're the biggest enemy to the gospel going forward because just how completely checked out of culture and society we are. And in a way, you could say that Jordan Peterson is doing apologetics with Andrew Schulz on a massive platform. This is really cool to see. Now, what's the legalistic side of this? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that J.K. Rowling was a daggone Christian, and when these books were popping, she was getting dragged through the mud by who? By Christians. Check out this quote from her. Harry Potter caused controversy among many Christians on the release of the first book. There were concerns that the series drew on themes of witchcraft and the occult. However, author J.K. Rowling has insisted Christianity was one of her major inspirations. She told the Telegraph, "To me, the religious parallels have always been obvious. But I never wanted to talk too openly about it because, listen up, Christians, hyper-religious, legalistic Christians. Why didn't she want to just say, it's really about the Bible? Listen up. Why not? But I never wanted to talk openly about it because I thought it might show people who just wanted the story where we were going. Fans of the series have noted that the quotations from the Bible occasionally appear. For example, in chapter 16 of Deathly Hallows, Harry reads, the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. 1 Corinthians 15:26, quote in 1 Corinthians. On his parents' tombstone, he also sees where your treasure is, there your heart be also. Matthew 6:21. On another grave, Rowling was brought up as an Anglican and is now a member of the Church of Scotland. Interesting. So you got a single mother who pulls from her faith and all of the imagery from the Bible, writes this massive hit of a story, and this single mother who develops this incredible series gets dragged through the mud by who? Christian. Not understanding that, Lord of the Rings is also one of these parallels. Not understanding that Chronicles of Narnia is a little bit more obvious about Jesus and Aslan, right? This is the part where legalism really, really can hurt, is when an iconic moment happens in art, an iconic moment happens in media, an iconic moment happens in music. And instead of saying, hey, there's a lot of biblical parallels here. Hey, this author says she's a Christian. Really cool, right? We jump straight to the abstinence, this is demonic message, right? It's happening right now with Justin Bieber. It's happening right now with Kanye. It's happening all the time where folks are like, hey, look, Kanye sharing his faith. Look, he's renaming all of his 350s to biblical themes and Yeshua's and this and that. And it's like, whoa, but he's Kanye, like Kanye. You gotta do a whole lot more when it's back over. And we completely missed it, demonized her, made this about demonic activity. If you read Harry Potter, you're gonna open yourself up to the occult and witchcraft and spirits. It's a bummer. And not understanding, fam, this is a story. It's not literal. It's a story. Lord of the Rings is inspired by biblical themes, right? These are Christian authors. So now we understand that magic and the occult is bad. Respect. People can't use those as metaphors in their writing. They can't create fictional universes. That's the conclusion we take it to. If you don't want to read Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, respect. I have no problem with you not reading those books. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, whatever. Now, again, magic, shout out to Levi. Magic was used in the Chronicles of Narnia, was it not? Narnia was just a bit more overt and Christians were a bit less anal about it. If you have a problem with Lord of the Rings or Chronicles of Narnia or Harry Potter, respect. You taking that conviction and placing it on all Christians everywhere and saying, if you read Harry Potter, you're opening up and your children are opening up portals to demons. You've just gone off to wonky land. Especially when the author is sitting here telling you, hey guys, hey, I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. I did this to get people to think about these spiritual biblical themes. And you're like, no, demonic, cult, witch. So we're creating more barriers for people to hear about Jesus, to hear the good news, to hear something different. You don't want to be that person at Thanksgiving dinner. And there was a gang of y'all that just completely looked goofy at Thanksgiving dinner because some random person that you should have been talking to Jesus, you should have been talking about Jesus, but you were sitting there telling them about how evil Harry Potter was or how evil Lord of the Rings was. You should have been sharing your faith, not understanding those authors were Christians trying to communicate biblical themes like depravity and the original sin. It's ridiculous and it's a bummer, and we got to do better. What I want to do is hold other people to our own standards. It's seldom is it helpful, seldom is it beneficial in lifting others up, and it voids people of the transforming power of what the gospel message really is Jesus lives the life we couldn't live, dies the death we should have died in our place on the cross, and then he rises, ascends to heaven and sends his Holy Spirit. And then when we place our faith, repent of our sin, follow Jesus, he gives us new hearts, new desires, new soul. Like, it's incredible. This is like really good news. So let's err on the side of the gospel. Let's encourage people to press into holiness and to follow Jesus and not just give them quick, short answers and tell them do's and don'ts. Because at some point, hey, we're all going to have to walk through life and think through these things and work through these things as our own. I'd rather equip you guys and tell you guys the truth out the gate. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Uplift despite the complicated things I felt. From cash aid to building generational wealth. Look, from her just hoping she could land a job to owning businesses, not feeling yeah, I need some real estate next. I've been the realest, not best. Is there a difference? I guess, nah. Yeah, they told me God bless.